there's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son. That is the only question.
Hey guys, welcome to the Unfiltered Journey. This video is going to be about Nolan Wells. My point of view about the Nolan Wells case. If you're not familiar, Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, who was found dead after taking a boat to an island with friends on July the 4th. The authorities in Mississippi have said that they believe that Nolan drowned and that they do not think that there was any foul play, but they are continuing to investigate. So that is where we are with the Mississippi, investigation at this point. And the huge problem with me was the police chief stated that, Nolan drowned and there was no suspected foul play without his autopsy coming back, because they automatically took the word of his quote unquote friends. And I use friends very loosely because, in my opinion, they were not friends with Nolan at all. I think Nolan thought that they were his friends, but they didn't think of Nolan as a friend. Or something happened where they automatically had some type of animosity or jealous toward Nolan, and Nolan wasn't aware of it. Now, people are making this about race, which, don't get it twisted, this is my unfiltered opinion. I do feel like it was about race when it came to his investigation, because if it wasn't for social media pushing the story, if it wasn't for Nolan's mother not giving up on wanting answers of how her son passed away, they wouldn't have investigated. They would have took the word of those boys as Bible. It's just simple as that. They would have took it as Bible, they would have closed the case and moved on. But because Nolan's mom took it to social media every day because she was not getting answers from his friends, she wasn't getting answers from the police department, I believe she felt like she had no other choice but to take it to social media. And when she took it to social media, it blew up. Social media is leading this investigation. And when you look at it, say what you want to say, Mississippi does not have a good record when it comes to treating people of color, which right now I'm talking about Black people, with the same respect that they treat other people, which is Caucasian people, when it comes to investigating anything. You can say what you want, but it's really statistics, in my opinion. Like, I'm not just saying it with my opinion. It's my opinion, but it's also a fact as well. Like, these are facts. This is data that you can pull up and you can see that it's not the same. And this is where I think that systematic racism comes into place. Because Nolan's parents are wanting answers of what happened to their son, as they should, people are making it a race thing. Nolan's parents never made it a race thing. Their mission was always, we just want to know what happened to Nolan. What happened to Nolan? Which that is a very valid question. What happened to our son? He went out on a boat with friends and did not come back. He was the only one who did not come back. With Nolan's history being a very athletic person, being a very good swimmer, he didn't come back. And he was the only one who did not come back. So for people, in my opinion, who are saying that this is about race, Noah's parents are not saying it's about race, but I am. It is about race. It's about systematic racism. It's about maybe some hidden jealousy, I think it was a lot of things, but I definitely think that the way they're handling this investigation was definitely systematic racism. That's just my opinion. Taking race out of it completely, like not bringing any color in it at all. And I don't know if this is just the way someone may have been raised or the cultural difference, but when you go with somebody, you come back with that same group of people. You do like they do on field trips. You do a head count, if you will. But what I do know is we don't go somewhere and you leave your brother, quote unquote, or best friend, quote unquote, by themselves, even if they say, no, I'm just going to stay out here on the island. I don't want my phone. I don't want anything. I'm just going to, hike another ride, another boat with, someone, because they're stating that Nolan went with this girl named Katie. Katie stating that she did not, go anywhere with Nolan. She saw Nolan going back with his friends. All she did was say hey and bye. Now, Katie has not come out and did any interviews or anything like that. These are Facebook statuses where she's made a statement and her sister's made a statement, but she has not come out and did a podcast, did an interview, or any of those things. But Warren, as you know, or if you don't know, Warren has recently done an interview with Officer Tatum, aka I'm gonna do anything I can against, black people. But anywho, that's just my personal opinion about him. But I don't want to veer off before I get to this point. If my friend drowned or was missing, because remember, I told you, according to Mississippi's police department, they're saying that Nolan drowned and there's no suspect of foul play. So if my friend drowned, okay, and according to Warren's current interview, it was 20 to 30 people out there, and no one saw anything about Nolan drowning. I feel like if someone drowns, you're going to know that someone is drowning by, flapping or whatever. You just know that your friend is missing. One, I am not going back home and just pretending like it didn't happen. Two, I'm not going to continue with my day and not call the authorities, not call his mom until later on the day. All of these things I'm doing immediately. I'm going to be out on the water. I'm going to be calling the Coast Guard. I'm going to be calling 911. I'm going to be calling his parents. We're going to be splitting up in a group. If there was 3 boats, one of the boats can go. I'm going to, we're going to stay here. We're going to continue to circle around and look for Nolan. If it's a drowning, none of these things happened. What happened was they went home acting like nothing happened, got lawyers, and scrubbed their social media. Okay? Just from that alone, I don't care what you say, that is weird. And if you don't think that that's weird, you have a problem. You just have a mental problem and you're just not one of us. That's all I can say. You're not one of us, because there's absolutely no way that you know your friend drowned, because this is what they're saying, that Nolan drowned. If my friend drowned, we're going to be out there all night, all day. I'm going to be exhausted and I will be calling his parents immediately, especially when you're saying that Nolan is your brother, Nolan is your best friend. And what I don't understand about Warren, him saying that, Nolan was his brother, quote unquote, best friend, but he didn't even know her number. And let me say this. I'm not talking about friends, because there's friends when I was younger as well that my mom didn't know about. But my best friend, someone that I consider brother or a sister, my mom knew them. They've come to our home. They've spoken. So I definitely think that Warren is putting extra on it. I think that he knew Nolan as, an associate, but to say brother and best friend, I absolutely think that that's a lie. I think that that's a lie. I really do. And even if he considered Nolan considered him a friend, but I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think that they considered Nolan as a friend. I don't, because there's no way I'm leaving my friend like that. And I'm not going to be the one to, get everything going first. I'm, like I said, I'm calling the police. I'm calling Coast Guard. I'm calling his parents. I'm doing all of the things. I'm orchestrating one of the boats. Two of the boats need to go back, but one of the boats or two of the boats need to stay back here, and we need to keep circling and looking for Nolan if it's a drowning. And also, if it's 20 to 30 people, there should be an explanation of them going to Nolan's parents and saying, hey, we were jumping off the boat, everybody was having fun, we were diving in there, and we noticed when we dived in the water, in the ocean, in the lake, whatever it is, any body of water, we noticed that Nolan didn't come back up, so we started searching for him. There's no type of story like that. There's no story of, we were on the other side, and then we saw that Nolan looked like he was struggling to swim, and he went under and he never came back up. There's no story like that. So this is very suspicious, like most of everyone knowing that it's suspicious. But for them not to have any type of story to provide Nolan's parents is very, very, very odd to me. Very odd. And I'm not even saying that they did anything to Nolan. I'm saying that if it's a drowning, there should be a story to tell Nolan's parents, point blank, period. You cannot deny that fact. You cannot. Okay, according to the FBI and Murder Accountability Project data, they consistently find that cases that involve white victims are more likely to be solved, and cases involving Black victims generally have lower clearance rates. And when I speak of systematic racism, this is what I'm talking about. Giving recognition to ATL Black Star, which is on Instagram, they have a screenshot of Gracie McCormick's statement about Katie. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have called in, are sending up prayers to bring Nolan home. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities. So this was when everything initially started about 2 weeks ago. So as we know, Warren said that Nolan was cradling Katie, and his buddy was screaming at Nolan to get on the boat, and Nolan demanded, he literally said demanded to stay on the island. So here is where the discrepancy is. Katie saying, no, Nolan was not with me. I thought he went with you guys, and that's the last that I saw. So I really do want Katie to come to the front, get on camera, and tell us her part, because as you can see, Warren is definitely throwing Katie under the bus, but there is definitely some discrepancies in Warren's interview, and I think he did himself a disservice doing that interview, but we will talk about that on a later day. Okay, so shout out to the sauce that's here on YouTube. I am about to let us listen to the part of Warren's interview where he stated that he last saw Nolan at 3:00 sitting on the island beside Katie's boat that she arrived on. So let's listen to it.
Calling them from their boat saying, yo, bro, come get on the boat because the boat is sinking. But he decided that he wanted to kick back and stay with Katie.
There's Nolan in this situation.
Well, Nolan was, the last time I saw Nolan was 3:00, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie, Katie. And Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and the last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And, but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to,
Okay, so according to Warren, Nolan not only told him that he was staying on the island, but he demanded he was going to stay on the island beside Katie's boat. Okay, let's continue.
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy.
Okay, did he say sitting beside the boat or sitting on the boat with Katie? Because that's two different things. Let's listen.
Dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And, but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us unless they demanded to, Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get it.
Okay, correct. I was correct. Warren stated that Nolan wanted to continue to sit by Katie's boat. Okay.
Get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues, and no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the.
No, notice how he's referring to his buddy who was talking to Nolan as his buddy, but he calls Nolan. Except for he sets the tone at the beginning of the interview saying that Nolan was like his brother and Nolan was like his best friend. But throughout the whole story, he was distancing himself from Nolan, referring to all of his other friends as buddy, my buddy, but then refers to Nolan as his name, Nolan. I found that very strange. It was almost like he was going in and out of distancing himself from Nolan, but then also making it seem like him and Nolan was just super, super, super close. That doesn't work for me.
Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you got to come now.
Okay, so after Warren said that Nolan demanded to stay on that island, he just didn't say, I'm staying on the island. He demanded to stay on that island.
Right. Demanded. That really came out strong to me as well. Demanded. Nolan didn't just say, I'm good. I'm going to stay on the island, which I would have been like, no, Nolan, you need to come with us. But the fact that he said demanded, he demanded. Okay, shout out to NBC for Washington. I'm going to just do a brief view of the second autopsy. I knew that this autopsy was not going to reveal the cause of death due to the fact that we don't have the result from the very first autopsy. So I just knew that this autopsy, the second autopsy, the personal autopsy that Nolan's parents got and was funded by Colin Kaepernick, big ups to him. I knew that this was not going to give us the results that we were looking for because it's impossible. The second autopsy cannot jump from the first autopsy and give us the cause of death. It just doesn't work that way. But it did provide some significant information to me in my head. One, the first autopsy, which is Mississippi, did not forward over the throat content, all of the throat content to the second autopsy. And I think it was the stomach contents that was missing, but let's see.
On the death of Nolan Xavier Wells, he conducted and presented this report on July 19th, 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation. And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. He talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head?
Okay, this did not stand out to me like it would or did other people, because of the simple fact that, yes, this is something to definitely point out, but depending on how Nolan, drowned, quote unquote, he could have hit his head on something, before he drowned, or what's the reason he drowned. You know what I'm saying? But that goes back to what I said at the beginning of the video. For him to have this, very distinctive bruise on the back of his head, upper neck, it shows that, that should have been something that, was told to his parents. Like, if he drowned, what are the timeline? What is the events that led up to him drowning? Were we all just jumping off the boat and Nolan tried to do a backflip or a front flip, a somersault, and hit the back of his head and he fell down in the water and he never came up? That is the thing that I'm talking about. That is the thing that's very strange to me. If Nolan passed away due to drowning, there should be a story, especially with 20 to 30 people he was around, and then the bystanders that was also on the island. There's no way that no one seen anything, and the island was packed for the 4th of July. That is my point, but let's continue.
And so he was important to note that in his report. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body.
Okay, this is what I was stating earlier before Ben Crump stated this. This was really significant to me, because according to the coroner, or the doctor who performed this autopsy, the personal one, in order for them to keep a part of the body, the first coroner had to suspect something suspicious or out of the ordinary with that particular body part in order for them to keep it. So that means now it's leading up to something that's really, really not good, because his throat, what does his throat have to do with him drowning? That has nothing to do. That should not be something suspicious with his throat unless he was choked out. And this is all speculations from just me using my brain. Okay, I noted in the back of my head that he had a bruise on the back of his head. So if someone is choking him, maybe they choked him so hard and they had him choked down on the back of, some type of object. It could have been the boat or whatever. But it does seem like there was some type of fight or some type of scuffle, solely my opinion, of what the autopsy is saying, the details the autopsy is given. I'm just using my brain and using speculation, but let's continue.
He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This is the crux of the matter. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water.
So there was no determination with that as well. So, and that would have been a huge clue. When Nolan went into the water, was he still alive? When he, you know what I'm saying? That would have been the determined, did somebody put his body in the water, or did he, you know, did he succumb by the water once he drowned? That is very important. I felt like this autopsy really didn't give me what I needed to get, which I said earlier, which I knew that, but it did leave some breadcrumbs for me. There's a huge question mark. Why did you keep his throat contents? Because there was some suspicion that made you want to get more, information about it. That would be the only reason. There would be no need for you to keep his throat context if there was nothing suspicious about it. So that is very huge to me. The missing organs or the missing body parts were the thing that stood out to me, resulting in this particular autopsy. Other than that, I really did not see the reasoning or the importance of this autopsy, but because of those reasons, for me, I'm talking only for me.
He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death.
Okay, guys, so I am going to end the video right here. I do want to know, if you stayed this far in the video, what is your thoughts on the whole Nolan Wells case? Do you think that his friends did something to him? Do you think that it was due to, him drowning? What are your thoughts? Do you think that people are taking this case way too far? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, and the Unfiltered Journey. I'm out.